All right, good morning, grade 7 and 8. I am here to do some preliminary work with our decimals, as we are going to be reviewing decimals as well as taking it a step further in the next few weeks. So the first thing that you're asked to do is you're supposed to take the first booklet, which is the Ordering Decimals, Ordering and Comparing Decimals booklet. There's no adding, multiplying, dividing, subtracting in this booklet. It is just about getting used to the concept of decimals again. And we're going to talk about the most reliable way of dealing with decimals, and that's to deal with place value. So, for those who are unfamiliar, when I have a number, let's say 139, I'm reviewing place value, that this 9 is actually 9 ones. And while I say 30, that's actually because I have 3 tens. 3 tens makes 30, and then I have 1 in the hundred spot. And no matter how many numbers I write, if I write 139, if I write 256, if I write 444, I'm always making sure that my ones are in the same spot. I can't take the 6 and move it over here and still say, well, it's 256 because I've got a 6 in the number. That's not the case. We need the numbers to be in the order that they are in to keep the place value. We're taking this a step further now. Now I've got 139, but now I have a decimal. Whenever I'm talking about numbers, that decimal is the first place that I'm allowed to say the word and. I'm not allowed to say 139. That's improper. I say 139 and I'm going to throw in a few numbers. Let's say 7, 8. So if this is ones and this is tens, once more, this place value is tenths. And this one would be hundredths. Still 100. You're going to have to pardon my very messy printing. I'm drawing on my touch screen with my finger. So these are the new place values, and they are now going in the opposite direction. So as you can see, I've got hundreds, tens, ones, tenths, hundreds. And by grade 7, 8, you're also meant to deal with thousandths. Thousandths. That's this one. If I put a 3 here, that would be 3,000. Here I have 3 thousandths. The beauty of this is that you're probably familiar with some of these words because we use the same with our fractions. That is 1/10, like this one here. And if I said 8 out of 100, I could also say 8 hundredths. And if I said 3 out of 1,000, that is the same as saying 3 thousandths. So what you're supposed to be doing with some of your work is you're supposed to do some converting. You're making that connection between fractions and decimals. With that in mind, it is only tricky if I have a big number in my fraction. For instance, I know that one of the questions deals with 31 thousandths. So if I make my self a place value, decimal, then I'm going to label it. I'm going to say 1, 10, 100, and then I'm going to say 10th, 100th, 1000th. And that's my very messy, very shorthand form of doing that because of my very, very messy way of being able to write on my touchscreen right now. I have to make sure that when I put this in, I include a 0 before the decimal. It's a little reminder. I make sure that that decimal is apparent, and then I'm counting spaces. Do I have any tenths? No, 0 tenths. There are 0 in the tenths place, but this says 3 thousandths. So that's not what I have for my fraction. I have 30 thousandths, which must mean that if I have 10 thousandths, I actually have 1/100th. Just like if I had 10 ones, it's the same as saying 1/10 if I had big numbers. So I'm going to move that 3 over here. So I have 30 thousandths, and I keep that 0. I don't get rid of that 0 even though it has no value, because that's still a way of me seeing the number 30 just like the fraction. Another really cool way to see if you could make this easy on yourself, whenever you're dividing or using a fraction, you can take out the same amount of zeros from the numerator and the denominator to simplify if they both end in a 0 digit. So for 30 and 1,000, zoop, 1 less 0, zoop, 1 less 0, I have 3 hundredths, which looks like this, which looks like 30 thousandths. So that is our first little talk about decimals. Hopefully that clarified a few things for some of you. I will be making new videos when I get specific questions coming in, or each day I'm going to take 1 or 2 example questions and make a video based on that. That's how we're going to be doing this for the time being. I am about to start my first meetings at 10:30, so please, if you are not scheduled to meet with me today or you're scheduled to meet with me later, please, please, please check the YouTube channel daily around between 10 and 10:30 for a YouTube video that may answer some of the questions you're going to bring to your meeting. As always, please attend your meeting on time every day that you have one, and try and complete this booklet by the start of next week. Thanks very much.